Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful crochet blanket. I will be using a combination of a few basic crochet stitches all mixed together, which will then form this interesting stitch pattern. In the end, I will be adding this decorative edging, which is optional. You can follow or simply skip that part of the tutorial. It's up to you. Either way, the blanket will look amazing. But I don't recommend skipping the edging made with the same yarn color. Yes, there are two edging parts in this tutorial because that one will give your blanket an additional structure. The stitch count presented in the video tutorial is for the baby size, which is 66 by 84 centimeters. As always, you can find the written instructions for this baby blanket on my blog. The written pattern is free to use, and if you want to support my work or need additional sizes for this blanket, there is a beautifully designed PDF pattern available in my pattern stores on Etsy, Ravelry, and Lovecrafts. The links to everything I will be mentioning in this video tutorial, including PDF patterns, blog posts, and materials I will be using, will be listed in the description box of this video. Now let me show you what you will need for this blanket. Let's start with the yarn you're going to need. I will be using Drops Paris 100% cotton yarn in color Rust. This yarn is specified as Aran weight yarn. Each skein is 50 grams, which is 1.8 ounces, and 75 meters, which is 82 yards of yarn. You're going to need approximately 10 skeins to complete the baby blanket. In addition to that, you're going to need 5mm crochet hook, and that is for the blanket and the first edging. For the second part, so for the decorative edging, I will be using Yarn and Colors must-have yarn, which is 100% cotton yarn. It is DK weight, each skein is 50 grams, that is 1.8 ounces, and 125 meters, which is 137 yards of yarn. Also, I think those two colors look really nice together. You are also going to need 2 crochet hooks for this part. I'm going to explain more about that later, but for now those are 5mm and 3.5mm crochet hooks. The last 2 things you are going to need are stitch markers, scissors, and a tapestry needle. Take the Aran weight yarn and 5mm crochet hook and create a foundation chain made of 88 chains. My foundation chain here will be a lot shorter because I'm going to show you how to make this blanket on a smaller piece of fabric. It's going to be just a sample, but it will include all the steps you need to successfully complete the blanket. When you finish all 88 chains, please stop for a bit and take a closer look to your chain. Every foundation chain has 2 sides, one side with 1 and one side with 2 loops. We are going to crochet into the side of the chain with only 1 loop. That will give us even edges on both ends of the blanket and make our crocheting much easier once we start working on edging number 1. Skip the first 2 chains and start in the chain number 3. Our first stitch is going to be a double crochet stitch. So let's make our first double crochet stitch together. Yarn over, insert the hook into the chain, under the loop, grab the yarn and pull it through. We have 3 loops on our hook. Now yarn over, pull the loop through the first 2 loops, yarn over one last time and pull the loop through all the remaining loops on your crochet hook. That is your first double crochet stitch. Remember how to make it because you will need it a lot in this project. Now that you have that, find the stitch marker and mark your stitch. It doesn't have to be a stitch marker as I have here. It could simply be a piece of yarn in a contrasting color, and that will help you indicate the stitch you need. But I would really recommend using a stitch marker with this project, especially if you're a beginner, because it's very easy to lose track of your stitches, especially those at the end or the beginning of the row. Now we are going to start repeating the following sequence. Skip 2 stitches or 2 chains in this case, work 2 double crochet stitches into the same stitch or the chain below, then chain 2 and then attach that chain with slip stitch to the stitch with 2 double crochet stitches. You are going to repeat that all the way across, and that is 28 times in total. Here we are at the end of the row, and we are going to end this row with a double crochet stitch into the very last stitch of the row. At the end, you should have 86 stitches in total. That includes 28 repeats and 1 double crochet stitch on each end of the blanket. Now let's start with row number 2, and this row is very important because we are going to repeat it all the way to the end of the blanket. We are going to start with chain 1, then turn your work and start with the first stitch. Create a half double crochet stitch in this first one, so let's make our first half double crochet stitch together, yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, grab the yarn on the other side and pull it through. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now yarn over again and pull the loop through all the loops on your hook. Mark the stitch with a stitch marker. Now comes the fun part. If you remember, in every sequence in row 1, we've crocheted 2 double crochet stitches and then 2 chains, and then we attach that chain to the stitch with 2 double crochet stitches, right? Now we are going to use that chain 2 space from the row below for that entire sequence. Let me show you how. Create 2 double crochet stitches around the chain 2 space. Then chain 2. And attach that 2 chains with a slip stitch to the chain 2 space from the row below. Repeat that 27 more times, so 28 times in total. Now that your row 2 is almost finished, create a half double crochet stitch into the very last stitch of the row. From here on, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Repeat row 2 86 more times, or as many times as you need to reach the desired length of your blanket. Now we are going to start working on our first edging. I wouldn't recommend skipping this part because this simple round of stitches holds the blanket together and prevents it from looking too stretchy and shapeless. We're going to start with a simple chain, just one chain, then turn your work and work one single crochet into each of next 85 stitches. This means one single crochet stitch into half double crochet stitch from the row below, one single crochet into every chain 2 space, and then one single crochet into every double crochet stitch. Now work 2 single crochet stitches, 2 chains, and then 2 single crochet stitches again into the very last stitch of this row. That will give us a nice and sharp first corner of the blanket. I'll start working down towards row 1. Work single crochet stitches evenly along the edges, approximately 1 single crochet into every half double crochet stitch, and work 2 single crochet stitches, 2 chains, and then 2 single crochet stitches again into every corner of the blanket. Don't worry about the stitch count too much, make sure your tension is nice and even, but still be careful you don't add too many stitches into just one side of the blanket. Now when you come to the last edge of the blanket, create your last corner into the very first stitch of this row. But because we've started this round with 1 single crochet, we're going to add the rest of the stitches we need now. This means we need 2 single crochet stitches, 2 chains, and 1 single crochet made into the same stitch. And once we have that, join and finish the round with a slip stitch made into the very first stitch of this round. Now just cut the yarn, fasten off, and hide the yarn tails between the stitches. The last step is a decorative edging. It is made of 2 rounds, 1 round of slip stitches and 1 round of cluster stitches. Both rounds are made with a contrasting color, in my case this is color beige. The first round is made with 5mm crochet hook and the second one with a tiny bit smaller crochet hook, and that is 3.5mm. You can start anywhere on the edging you like. I will start just a few stitches before the first corner. The pattern for the first round is very simple. All you need to do is to create slip stitches evenly around the blanket. 1 slip stitch into every single crochet stitch from the round below. For the corner, we will simply squeeze 1 chain between the slip stitches in every corner of the blanket, just to keep the corners nice and sharp. Create your last slip stitch into the base of the very first slip stitch of this round, cut the yarn and fasten off. The next round, so round number 2, is a tiny bit more complicated. We are going to start in one of the corners and we are going to use 3.5mm crochet hook for this part. Attach the yarn with chain 1. Then create the following stitches all into one corner. So work 1 half double crochet stitch, 2 double crochet stitches, 1 chain, 2 double crochet stitches again, and then 1 half double crochet stitch. Skip 1 stitch and create 1 half double crochet stitch into the next one. After that, skip 2 stitches and create 2 double crochet stitches, 1 chain and 2 double crochet stitches again into the same stitch. Skip 2 stitches and create 1 half double crochet into the next one. Now continue repeating the sequence all the way to the next corner. Then, once you reach the next corner, work 1 half double crochet, 2 double crochet stitches, 1 chain, 2 double crochet stitches and 1 half double crochet stitch into the corner and start repeating the whole sequence again and again. I always keep 1 stitch on each side of the corner, between my last half double crochet stitch and the corner and my first half double crochet stitch. The rest I skip in pairs, so 2 together. Finish the round with a slip stitch made into the very first stitch of the round, that is half double crochet stitch in your first corner, cut the yarn, fasten off and hide the yarn tails between the stitches. Okay guys, that would be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I see you all very soon. Bye!